Hi guys, Joe here, being recorded by
the DB Grinder. What is up?
I won the Tengu event on Saturday. I really like Tengu format. It's like the most enjoyable retro format in my opinion. If you're like kind of a newer player and you like combo and stuff like that, and you think Edison's too slow, play Tengu. It's very fun. So I played a pretty standard main deck. Also shout out to Paul Studs and Alice Bailey. I love you. So I played a really standard main deck. 3 Tengu, 3 Thunder King. That's like the only difference from like Billy and I's list. It's like really good going first. It's like if you can pair this with a trap card, like you have 2 stops, it like allows you to be so many turns ahead, and the game can just end, right? So if they match like this summon with Tour Guide, they're like behind and they have to make Leviathan, which you want to take that trade every time. And like summoning this back off like Reborn or something is really huge. Also having the extra light is super important because it's super hard to get to light sometimes. So definitely like 3 of this. Tour Guide, Sangan, pretty standard. But Spirit Reaper, Debris, Plants. Yeah, these guys are super standard. This card's ridiculous. Obviously, it's like at the wall against like Agent and stuff like that, but you can also like summon it back with Debris and make like a 7. I did a cool play in one of my matches. My opponent went Summon Alias set 2, and I went set Spirit Reaper set 2, and he attacked into my monster, and I chained Deep Prison, and he chained Gemini Spark, targeting my other set. My other set was MST, so I popped his other set. So like, he already got rid of both of his sets. I'm already +1 there. And then his monster goes, so I get to flip the 2 attack it directly, discard another card. And then I warn you his next summon, and discard another card. So it's just like, you can really snowball if you can't answer this. Hand traps, Mexi, Mailer. I was expecting to play a lot of mirrors and put against a lot of trap decks, which is very funny. So this card was not very good. Decided out a lot. But obviously need to play 3 of it for the mirror. And then the 1 Veiler, want it to be searchable off Sangan, that's an extra light. Oops. And it's really good against agents and like some random decks. BLS, Gores, Caius. This card's ridiculous. I wanted to play 2, but I don't have space. Gores is like, got sided out a lot. Because most people play this format like have a pulse. Like this card is not very good. Play around it most of the time, and like if they're pushing into it, they usually have a way to deal with it. So obviously it's like okay for them to like expend a resource for it, but other than that, like it's kind of okay. And BLS is obviously ridiculous. That's it for the monsters, and for the spells I played 2 Econ, 2 MST. Thought about playing 3 of this because going second, Warning is like such a power card. If I start with like Tour Guide Sangan or like this Thunder King, Warning, like I said earlier, like having your normal summon get stopped turn 1 is like super pivotal, and like having a way to mitigate the warnings or the econs is really important. Heavy Book, Circle, these cards are all good. This is the best card in my deck, honestly. Dodges Veiler on Tour Guide turn 1, which comes up a lot. Sometimes if I'm going first, I won't summon Tour Guide if I have something like Econ, so I can try to play around Veiler. But yeah, Book is ridiculous. Also, like, booking Thunder King is crazy. Best card in the deck, next to Book, is Avarice. Gotta play around Crow with this, really important. Foolish, Mindcon, 1-for-1, Reborn, Scapegoat. All the crazy 1-0s. I thought about cutting this card, but this plus Lone Fire gets you like so much. It gets you Formula, Librarian, and then make Arcanite Magician. So you like pop 2, draw a card, which does so much. And then I played 2 Warning, Judgment, Dust Shoot, Torrential. These cards are pretty standard. Torrential's probably the worst one. This card's really unfair. Probably the worst part of like retro formats is this being legal. But yeah, Torrential's like okay, but if you set it up with like Tour Guide or something like that, it's like really impactful. So 41 cards in the main deck. To the extra, I guess. Formula, Armory Arm, Librarian, Catastor. I made this a lot more than I made this. This is pretty good against agents, but like this just being bigger and also being an out to Catastor is huge. And it's also like a pseudo floodgate in the mirror. So this card's ridiculous. Orient, Brio, this is just for like Debris Dragon. I really wish this was a dragon, but it's not, unfortunately. But this card's pretty solid. I like it a lot. Arcanite Magician, this is like the only different thing I played in my extra deck. Essentially you make this with Librarian and Formula, and you get some counters, you get to pop 2 monsters. You used to be able to make it with like Chaos Zork and something, but I cut Chaos Zork. The card's really bricky, so I really like this. Also, being a light comes up for sure. Trish, Scrap, Ancient Fairy, Stardust, Black Rose. This is the best card in the deck, in the extra deck, I'm sorry. Because like it allows you to play around Gores. If you like have a way to put their monster in defense where they have like a scapegoat token, you can flip it, attack for 24, and attack with something else for game, and then they won't be able to drop Gores on like you attacking over something and hitting them. So this is super good. Also, like there's another play I did where like against GBs, I went like set, dandy, pass, and I set a warning as well. He summoned a GB, I Veilered it. He attacked into it, I summoned 2 tokens. He passed by setting 4. I summoned Spore, made Formula, drew a card, made Librarian, made Black Rose. Black Rosed him, he chained Starlight Road, I chained Warning, and the game was over, so the card's ridiculous. And then XYZ is Leviathan, Olivier, Tokyo. I don't play Roach. Roach is like good against agents, but the agent deck like actually isn't that good in all my testing of it, so I decided not to play Roach. And then for the side deck, I played Crow, Doomcal. You play this because you want a 4th Thunder King. This card's really strong. Also, it has 18 defense, so it doesn't lose to stuff like Book or like Econ. Its flaws, like if they have like a Veiler and they just Veiler it, or they max C it, then it just dies. But if you're trading for those cards, like this card has done its job, fulfilled the purpose. So because you're gonna have all your like your Gas cards in going first, this helps like bait hand trap, stuff like that. Second Kai is for like trap decks and when I go first sometimes. But I also decided to choose Cyber Dragon. And like against certain decks, I'm gonna side this in plus this, so I can like tribute it turn 1, which is really strong. Also, Cyber Dragon being a level 1, or not level 1, a level 5. So if you draw level 1, you can make Brio. Comes up a lot. Second Veiler for agents. I played 2 Breaker. This card's all around really good. It matches Alias and Thunder King against the trap decks. And if you're attacking against smaller stuff, you get the pop and you get the attack over. But also it's a dark. So essentially, like the way I built my deck is I'm going to be siding out stuff like 1-for-1. Dandy, Debris, like cards that like trade really poorly into max C, because if the opponent isn't maining 3 max C, they're definitely siding into 3. So you want cards that are like high impact, but don't lose to max C. Like this, like no one's gonna shotgun max C, so this gives you the free summon off the rip. And then like cards like this that give you a bunch of value without special summoning is kind of like how I wanted to build my deck. And then I played 2 Leeching the Light for agents. Played Smashing Ground. This should be Soul Taker because again Shining it misses timing, but this is like another card that I'm going to be siding in going second against like anything, even the Mirror. Since I'm siding out cards like 1-for-1 Scapegoat, stuff like that, stuff that's special summon a lot. I'm turning my deck into like a little bit more of a control deck, so this card's really helpful. Third MST for when I go second, or like trap decks. And then for the last cards I played Debunk. This card is for like hand traps and stuff like that, and like Tengu. This card really sucks though. At first it was at 3, then it was in my main deck, then I was at 2, now it's at 1. I think I'm just gonna cut it. It just has like so many flaws. Like in theory it's crazy, like you can hold it for max C, all that stuff, but like if you're setting this turn 1, and it's like the only card you're setting, it's just getting MST'd because I think it's warning. If you have a Tengu and they summon their Tengu and attack into it, their Tengu is gonna be chain like 1, yours is gonna be chain like 2, so you can never do this. It's just like super mid. And then I decided 2 Deep Prison. This is a card that also is like pretty solid. Since the format is slow, you can have this card going second and answer like a Thunder King or a Sangan if they attack with it. Also, it's an out to Christia. So, yeah, essentially like having all these cards that are just like generally good cards and are high impact, like the Deep Prisons, this, the Caius, the Cyber Dragons, Doomcal, stuff like that. Like these cards are just high value as like standalones, and they get, you know, a +1 usually just by themselves, at least the monsters, right? So I'm siding out like all my cards that lose to max C and siding in 8 or 9 cards that are just good standalone cards. That's pretty much what the deck is. And it was really nice because I often caught my opponent with like 1 or 2 dead max C's in their hand because they were only getting a 1-for-1 or not getting any value off it. So that was the theory behind it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the DB Grinder if you enjoy this content, or subscribe to me if you want to see more Tengu videos, and I'll do some combo videos in the weeks coming.
All right, see ya.